Good evening. Welcome to the Advisor and Finance Committee meeting coming to you tonight from the Great Hall in the Town Hall of Plymouth, Massachusetts. This evening's meeting is a hybrid meeting with some participants attending physically and others attending virtually via a video conference application, in this case Zoom. You can watch this meeting on Comcast 9, Verizon 47, or on the local Scene streaming channel, www.youtube.com/@Plymouth Meeting SLS. Public comment. Any speaker giving public comment is allowed up to 5 minutes in which to speak. Public comment can be made at the beginning or end of each meeting or in regard to a particular agenda item the speaker wishes to be heard on. Zoom log information. Anyone who wants to attend the meeting virtually, including members of the public who wish to give public comment, can use one of the following methods in which to do so: via the Zoom app, which can be downloaded from zoom.com. The meeting ID is 995-2986-0638, and the meeting password is 100131. Via the website at www.zoom.us, click Join a Meeting on the right-hand side and enter the meeting ID 995-2986-0638, and again, the meeting password 100131, or via telephone, which is voice only, at 929-205-6099. Enter the meeting ID when prompted, 995-2986-0638, and enter the meeting password 100131. So we'll begin this evening's meeting with the roll call. Ms. Butler, are you here?
I am here.
All right, Mr. Dunn.
Here.
Mr. Friedman. Mr. Jacinto.
Here.
Ms. Keating.
Here.
I am here. Mr. Malaguti. All right. Ms. O'Connor.
Here.
All right,
And
Mr.
I'm here as
Malaguti
well.
is here. Great. Thank you, sir.
Here.
Ms. O'Connor's
Come on.
here, I see. Mr. Ramey.
Here.
All right. Ms. Reitman.
Here.
Ms. Richards.
Here.
Mr. Snyder.
Here.
Ms. Tompkins.
Here.
Mr. Trudell. Mr. Vecchi.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. 14 present. So, with that, we'll begin with the first opportunity for public comment. Is there any member of the public who wishes to make comment? I see no one present. I see no one virtually. All right, we'll move right on. I'm going to change the agenda this evening, and we'll jump right into special town meeting article review. Citizens petition, amend Home Rule Petition Acts 2003, Chapter 27, that was submitted by Mr. Richard Cirque, who is unable to attend tonight. And in his place is David Peck, member of Precinct 4. David, welcome. Please introduce yourself at the mic and make sure it's on.
David Peck, Precinct 4, volunteering to represent Rich Cirque on the purposes of his proposal. And I would just keep the remarks brief. I will open and close the remarks by saying there's nothing in this proposed language that disregards collective bargaining. Bargaining is assumed, bargaining is even allowed, and this intent is to just create an additional category that can be bargained with all of our bargaining units who we value here in the town. So that's its purpose. By way of background, we all know from the headlines, whether national or local, and state that healthcare costs are going up far above the rate of inflation, and it creates short-term and long-term financial issues for both the town, the state, and beyond. What this proposal proposed to do, you may have seen it, I've made my own copy, in the Acts, Chapter 27 of 2003, now exists that for all employees and their families prior to being hired February 26th of 1998. This act that we're looking at, 23 years old, is 2003. But anyway, this particular act says employees and their relatives prior to that date, the town contributes 90%, the employee only 10%. In 2003, that was adjusted to say up to those hired up to 2003, it would be essentially capped at 20% for the employee, 80% for the town. So it's 23 years since then. In a sense, what this proposal is coming is to do the same thing that happened in 2003, is to create a new category for all employees hired after the date, if this is approved, that then becomes part of the bargaining landscape that all of our bargaining units do. But it basically, it's a very short thing. It has nothing to do with mandating percentages. It just says the provisions of this act shall not apply to any employees hired before the date. So whatever's pre-existing with bargaining units and in our general laws for the town, but this allows all employees hired by the effective date of this act prior to this date shall continue to be governed by this agreement. But this creates an opportunity going forward for our bargaining units to work with the town. It's capped at 20%, but we know, looking at national percentages, right now across the entire country, it averages 25% contribution by employees, 75% by employers. I know it varies, sometimes higher or lower, but our existing language limits it to 20%. And this allows in the future, maybe before it makes a financial difference, 10 years, 20 years, it's a gesture to allow a little more flexibility in the negotiating, and down in the future for those employees who start working here and they work for 10 or 20 years, they'll be covered by the collective bargaining, but this allows more flexibility in the future for the town in its overall financial budget. I looked at 2014 and 2024 town reports, and the member insurance has gone up by almost 50% at the town level, and nationally things have gone up 52.6%. So this is just a long-range, relatively straightforward language that just allows future bargaining.
All right, questions, Mr. Dunn?
In 2003, when this was passed, I was 14, so I wasn't there obviously, but my understanding is that this was done in consultation with the unions in town. Was that done this time?
I don't know. Again, I'm sure you'll hear from our guests as well in terms of some of the history. Again, I'm just doing my best to pinch hit for Rich.
And I'll say more in my comments because I have a lot of comments on this, but my question, I guess, is why do you feel that the people that have been hired after a certain date should get less than what the people have now, especially considering that the two-tier contracts and stuff that people already have and that young people already have, this is more attacking the people now. People now aren't going to be affected by it. You said it's grandfathered in from the thing of the date. So all it does is affect younger people by pulling up the ladder after everyone else got theirs.
Well, it's comparable to what's happening in the country in terms of.
I think that's
that
trash
multiple
too.
industries.
I think everyone that does that, I think it's garbage. I think the entire, I'll talk about this later.
Okay, well, again, I'll do my best to answer the questions, but I hear the observation.
Mr. Ramey.
So on the back of this, we have a letter that Mr. Cirque wrote to the editor of the Plymouth Independent, and towards the end of it, he wrote that those employees would be on notice before they are hired that after they retire, the town's health insurance percentage payment for them will no longer be grandfathered as of the date of hire, but will instead be the one in effect on the day they retire. To me, that sounds like that when you hire, when you're hired, you have no idea what your benefits are going to be like if you work for the town.
Going to say, not necessarily. I read the language. It just allows future bargaining.
Yeah, I would agree with you that that's not what the bold says in the article. I just don't know if you could speak to why he worded it that way, or does he think that?
Again, I can't speak for Rich. You know, I'm just guessing, but also broadly speaking, not just Plymouth, the fact that if you work for Plymouth for 30 years, the ratio might well change between when you start and you finish. And again, to represent, I guess, leadership hoping to manage healthcare costs in the future, that his point of view in that letter just allows that you're not grandfathered in the day you're hired. But again, my take, just it's especially not a lawyer, but just looking at it, that's not what the language allows the bargaining. And I want the bargaining people to come to both sides of the table. But across 30 years, I know where I worked, the percentage of my leadership changed between 35 years, between when I was hired and when I wasn't. And that can happen, that's in the real world. So that's, to me, that's not unrealistic in the real world.
Yes, but if I chose to work for the town right now, I would know what my benefits were going to be if I worked for 20 years. And
well, again, I think the world changes. I hear what you're saying, but the rest of the world has been slowly modifying things. The bigger picture is healthcare costs need to be managed, and then whatever the share is between owner and worker, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to the town. It's a challenge to the employees.
thank you.
Yep.
All right, other questions? Mr. Jacinto.
Hi. The letter opens with, "We will soon find ourselves at the precipice of a financial cliff." Do you have any idea when that is?
I don't. I would ask the town to tell us that. Is it a real cliff or not? Again, broad picture, when you look across the country and the state, it's a big challenge. Is it next year or 2 years? I mean, whether it's the capital plans and whatever we're going to need to pay for multiple buildings, we are at a point of challenge for sure, but I can't predict when the cliff is. Somebody would.
I was just
more
seeing if
experience.
there was data to back up the fiscal cliff, because I hear it a lot, and I'm just trying to figure out, it sounds like we're moving forward with decisions based on a giant what if. I'd just like to know when that is. If you're going
I
to use
don't-
the phrase.
That's a little out of Mr. Peck's scope here, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just because he had it out there, like
Yeah,
there is
okay.
a fiscal cliff, so
Right.
I just
I
want to know
understand.
where it is
Yeah.
and when it happens. What do you expect to see in savings over the next 5 years?
I'd say virtually none in the next 5 years, virtually none in the next 10 years.
Okay.
In talking to Rich, and again, I may have read that letter in the past, but this may not show up for 20 years, 15 or 20 years. It's not immediate. It becomes a new class of employees. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but I did enough research before coming tonight on behalf of Rich, is that you need to balance all this with federal law and state law, which allows different categories of employees, part-time employees, full-time employees, that become part of the bargaining, and you can have varied benefits depending on the class of the employee.
Now, this originally was bargained, correct?
Again,
This is part of
I
the
don't
collect-
know, it probably was, but I don't know.
Okay,
In 2003, I just know it was 23 years ago.
so because it was already bargained, it doesn't have to be bargained again?
Well, I don't think it gets, we're not rescinding the
Well,
2003.
my question is, there's current CBAs in place, correct?
Yes,
And they're due to expire, do we know?
I don't know, in the future. That's why, again.
So,
we
yeah,
just-
so a CBA is going to expire in the future. You hire an employee today, or when this
Recording
goes
in
into effect,
progress.
they're going to have a different agreement than current members
here
under the
we
same
are.
CBA. So will we have to open all of the union contracts to account for
Again,
that?
I'll speak for myself. I don't think so. I think every existing agreement continues. And when they come up, that becomes part of the bargaining.
But like I said, if you hire an employee under this
None
special
of us can hear whoever's talking, right?
bylaw,
Yeah,
how would they be covered under the existing CBAs of all the unions in town?
They would continue to be covered by the agreements that are in place.
Which would be that they were hired because it's the article here.
Nope. It's just tracking this particular category of employee. It is not undoing any single thing in the 2003 agreement.
Okay. I'll,
That's my take.
Okay. I think that's it for questions for me, but I'll
Yeah.
probably have comments later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, other questions for Mr. Peck? Yes, Ms. Richards?
so those of us on Zoom completely lost the last few minutes of the discussion.
So is there
What
a
are
question you have
questions?
that you would like to ask Mr. Peck?
Well, no, but my question is, what was asked, we did not hear.
Well, I'll just repeat, there's nothing in this act that affects any existing
I'm sorry.
agreement.
I'm sorry, Mr. Peck, we need to hear what was asked first.
All right,
and then your
Mr.
response.
Ramey, I think you had could you just repeat what your question was? And
It cut out after me. It was during Mr.
all right, well, Mr.
Jacinto.
Jacinto, could you ask your question, please, again?
I asked what the expected savings would be over 5 years, 10 years. And
And what I understand, again, from conversations with Mr. Cirque, is that effectively zero savings in 5 years, zero savings in 20 years, or in 10 years, because it will all depend on if people work for the town for 20 or 30 years, it wouldn't play out. However, between now, whenever the next round of bargaining happens, there might be implications, but nothing under an existing agreement that's in place.
yes, and I also asked if you knew when the fiscal cliff was.
Yeah, and I don't, I read the same things you guys do. I do know there's challenges, and again, I'm on the building committee, so I know the challenges on the capital side that we're facing. But I'm just speaking more as a precinct 4 member who cares about our overall budget.
Okay, anybody else have questions for Mr. Peck? All right, I
Yes.
have one.
If Mr. Ramey could, I'm sorry. If Mr. Ramey could ask his question and if Mr. Peck could respond in the same way.
All right,
I asked in Mr. Cirque's letter to the Plymouth Independent, he wrote that those employees would be on notice before they are hired, that after they retire, the town's health insurance percentage payment for them will no longer be grandfathered as of their date of hire, but will instead be the one in effect on the date they retire, and why he thought that was the case, given the language that is in the proposed changes to the law.
Well, I will say, this is not collective bargaining. And the share of employee in town thing will be subject to negotiation in the future. I think letting an employee know, by the way, this will be part of the sort of complex municipal budget going forward, but we now track the date. There's no guarantee that what the insurance rate's going to be in 20 or 30 years. It's just, this is a new class of employee that we'll be tracking, just like part-times and other things, and it's all subject to bargaining. I'm just going to say that word 20 times if I have to. There's nothing in the language that's being presented that mandates any changes. Negotiation might reduce the share from 20% to 15, or it might go to 25. We don't know. That's all subject to bargaining.
All right, Ms. Richards, do you have another question?
I do.
You have to speak a little loud and into your mic, please.
Sure, I'm sorry. So what part of, so if there is no anticipated savings in the next 10 to 20 years, why is this being brought up now?
Because I believe Mr. Cirque, and I'll say some other citizens think even if it's a small step with a long-term future impact, it's still worth putting it in place to set up those future savings rather than waiting 10 years. So I think that's the mentality. It's a small gesture with hopefully long-term implications.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Peck? All right, I have one. I actually have a couple.
Okay.
So let's just pretend for the moment that I worked for the town for 35 years and I'm now retired. As I read this, the town could change my retirement contribution because I'm not covered by a collective bargaining agreement anymore. Is that how you interpret it as well?
No, because Section 2 says this act shall apply to all non-union employees who are eligible for health insurance. So it's not just unionized, but it's also non-union.
Okay. Can you just, Section 2. So it says it'll apply to all non-union employees who are eligible for health insurance benefits and to employee groups who agree within 60 days of the effective date to an increase in the percentage paid. So that, I don't come to that same conclusion.
Well, the last sentence, all employees originally hired by the town prior to, I'll say 2026, shall continue to be governed by the acts of 2003.
All right, so that leads me to a second scenario question. So I've been working for the town for 35 years, and this gets passed on, I don't know, August 1st, and I retire on August 2nd. Does that mean then that I'm subject to having my contribution limit changed because I retired after a day after the act was passed?
Language doesn't mention retirement. It talks about the date of hiring, not the date of retirement.
Okay, well, that's just, again, it's not, all right, fine, thank you. Any other questions from the committee? Otherwise, I'll open it up to anyone who wishes to make a public comment. All right, we'll recognize Mr. Weber. I think you had your hand up first. So your comments are limited to 5 minutes, please.
I'll do the best I can with the 5 minutes. It's at a disadvantage because this is, and I just hope that you could ask me the same questions you asked Mr. Peck.
Well, you can speak to them.
Mr. Peck's information is grossly inaccurate. So good evening. For the record, I am Dale Weber, and I'm appearing here tonight and before you wearing several hats. I'm a retired DPW worker with 38 years of service, a town meeting member from Precinct 3 for 33 years, a retirement board member for 9 years, and a past chairman of the statutory Mass General Laws, Chapter 32B, Insurance Advisory Committee for decades. So I will focus on that role to give you a very quick summation of the IAC, Insurance Advisory Committee, IAC, accomplishments, while hoping you will get an understanding about how all the prior mentioned activities intertwine as it relates to the citizens petition article before you tonight. It's difficult to do this in 5 minutes, but I will try to paint a picture, and my friend behind me, Mr. Pinto, can then add to the discussion. Back in 2002, the town was facing a significant budget crisis, along with strong 9C cuts from the governor. And as often happens, the town will and was looking to the employee groups to help balance the budget through cuts to their benefit packages, all properly and fairly bargained for through the legal process of Mass General Laws, Chapter 150E. Except in the case today. There was no reach out from administration to the employee groups, just a doom and gloom initial budget presentation that ignited the overreactionary response that is now this citizens petition before you tonight, that is merely a blatant attack on the initiatives the employees have been steadily working on to recruit and retain employees, as Plymouth is falling further and further behind in that arena. I, along with the chairman of the retirement board, Tom Kelly, who was also on the IAC as a delegate from the Police Patrolmen's Union, were co-authors of this bill that, after going through the Selectmen, the Advisory and Finance Committee, and town meeting, became enacted into law as Chapter 27 of the Acts of 2003 at the State House. I was a co-author to that. That single action netted the town of Plymouth $3.2 million initially, and those savings, along with others that the 5-minute window will prevent me from discussing here, have compounded out to many millions of dollars through the years. In fact, that number is now today $250 million in cost savings and initiatives done by employees since the special act was created. Along with that, you need to be acutely aware that the employees and retirees are right now in the middle of a 6-year contractual agreement. The Public Employee PEC, Public Employee Committee Agreement, that clearly and unequivocally states the following. It is agreed that no other changes will be implemented to the current health insurance portfolio, including both plan design and contribution rates, for the duration of the current PEC agreement. That's pretty clear language. Therefore, if this citizen petition passes town meeting, this will not only not produce any savings, but will actually incur expenses in litigation, as future retirees of the town will not get the benefit of their bargain, and the recruitment and retention initiatives to make Plymouth a good choice for people to live and work will further spiral downward. In closing, and just as important, you need to be acutely aware that the current PEC agreement that has 3 years left on it produced $10 million in savings and reduced the other post-employment benefit liability, commonly referred to as OPEB, and I'm sure you people have heard much about other post-employment benefits. It has reduced the other post-employment benefit OPEB liability to the town of Plymouth by $227,391,317. These are facts that will not be disputed by the finance director or the town manager, who I thought would be here tonight. So that's what employee initiatives got the taxpayers and ratepayers of Plymouth. This initiative before you tonight does nothing except agitate people. Thank you. And I hope you have any questions.
We'll hear the other speakers first. We may have a couple of questions at some point. Or unless Mr., actually,
Yeah, I'll say.
let's hear Mr. Pinto. Please introduce yourself. sir.
Yeah, I will. Again, this is a little frustrating just to hear some of these comments earlier. I'll start. I'm Tom Pinto. I'm a third generation born and raised in Plymouth. I'm a taxpayer, a ratepayer for water and sewer. father of 2 students of Plymouth Public Schools, the president of the Education Association of Plymouth and Carver, the spokesman for the Coalition of Organized Plymouth Employees, the current chairman of the Insurance Advisory Committee, a North Plymouth Steering Committee member, and a Precinct 2 town meeting member. Heck, I even volunteer to coach Learn to Play Hockey at Armstrong Rink on weekends with my youngest son when I don't have to take my oldest one to sporting events. I'm invested in this community. I'm here to speak out against the second attempt by Mr. Cirque, Mr. Canty, and Mrs. Iaquintal to remove the home rule petition, because this all started at that December meeting where it failed. The petitioner states, petitioner, Mr. Cirque states, this is a modest but important step back from the fiscal cliff we are now approaching. This is simply not true. It is a lie. Unless Mr. Cirque can see in the future and is predicting the fiscal cliff of 2040, this article will provide no relief anytime soon. In order to be effective, a hired worker must complete their career and retire with benefits. This is looking at what, 14 years down the road at a minimum. Many employees, like myself, have to work over 30 years to max out their pension. There is no instant financial relief to this article. If this article does pass, it would have the opposite effect Mr. Cirque, Mr. Canty, and Miss Iaquintal desire. The cost of legal fees will cost the taxpayers money because all the unions will be forced to challenge this article as it violates our collective bargaining agreements in the public employee agreement, i.e. the health insurance agreement. Here's a line that Mr. Weber spoke about earlier from our PEC agreement, which supports my previous comments. It is agreed that no other changes will be implemented to the current health insurance portfolio, including both plan design change and contribution rates for the duration of the PEC agreement. I can tell you right now that if this passes, we will consider this a change to our health insurance portfolio. Never mind the fact that the home rule petition language is in our collective bargaining agreements. What is the purpose of this article? I'm serious. What is the purpose of this article? I mean, do they have no respect for union workers, unions who work in this town, protecting our citizens, educating our children, protecting our property, and maintaining our infrastructure? I brought these issues up in January to both the select board, the school committee, and this committee. Why did Mr. Cirque, Mr. Canty, and Mrs. Iaquintal not reach us then? And why is there still no communication from them with the town unions? Never been reached out to this day. I want to applaud Select Board Vice Chair Quintal, as he understands the importance of working as a team to accomplish goals. He set up a meeting with the Insurance Advisory Committee, the town manager, and the finance director, which resulted in a productive meeting where both sides agreed to look in cost savings and initiatives without opening up the PEC agreement. The Insurance Advisory Committee has a proven track record of saving the town and our members money. Just yesterday, the Insurance Advisory Committee sent a recommendation to the town recommending them to look into a maintenance prescription cost savings program, which hopefully will benefit both the town and our members. Hopefully this program will be as successful as our Pillar X program. Over the past 3 years, Pillar X, another employee-based initiative, which gives savings to members on specialty pharmacy drugs, has also saved the town during that time roughly around $735,000. You have an insurance advisory committee who meets monthly, besides for July and August, which is invested in saving our members in the town money. Think of what we could accomplish if we worked as a team and not doing stuff like this. We do our research, investigate, and look for ways to save the town's money while supporting our members, providing them the best possible insurance. Working alone leads to mistrust and promotes a divisive environment, which is exactly what is happening here with this article. Collaboration saves money. Listening opens up dialogue that benefits everyone. Please vote no on recommending this article to town meeting. Thank you. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions. So is Mr. Weber. A lot of stuff going on around there. Comments were made. So.
Mr. Dunn, and then Mr. Trudell.
Thank you. I think you answered this already, Mr. Pinto, but this was my question originally. No one has reached out to you guys at all. But in 2003, when this was done, this was in I think, Dale, you might know, was this done in collaboration with the unions? This was not done outside of conversations with the town employees, correct?
100% correct, and I'll give you a little history on that. Like I said, the town was in a budget crunch. Just so you know, another initiative that we did, and I want to come back to you, Brian, because yes, 100% collaboration was involved with the town manager, the town manager's human resources department, the unions, and the Board of Selectmen, because the Board of Selectmen actually sponsored the article. It was Article 1 at a special town meeting back in April of 2003. And they were the lead party on that to create the language that we had all come to an agreement on that was going to net the town 3.4 million. We also tried to do another initiative as far as retirement. So everybody knows that the constant drone that you hear is health insurance is too expensive and pensions is too expensive. So we come at this, that's why I'm involved in both insurance and pensions, because they coexist. And we actually formed a separate trust fund by the acts of chapter 113 of the acts of 2012 that forms a separate trust fund. We started that fund at zero, and through active investment portfolio with our managers at the retirement board, which is separate from the town, and it allows the retirement board to take a more aggressive stance in investment mechanisms. We now today stand at $20 million in that fund. And the goal of that fund, when we formed it, was in the event in the future, we were very forward thinking. In the event in the future that the town was facing dire straits with the finances of health insurance, we could exercise a vote at the retirement board to peel off some funding to assist. And we tried that 3 weeks ago when this whole hoopla started. And the chairman of the retirement board, Thomas Kelly, and the vice chairman of our retirement board is the chief financial officer of the town, Lynn Barrett, who sits on that as an ex officio. That's statutory, that's laws that mandate that she sit there. And we all serve together and we all work together. When Mr. Kelly approached Lynn Barrett on this, Lynn Barrett said, no, today, now is not the time. We are not in dire straits. Now is not the time to do that. So we are turning over virtually every stone to assist the town to try to meet the doom and gloom approach of the budget. And I'm glad that Mr. Jacinto exposed that there is no fiscal cliff right now. We have a balanced budget that's going forward on April 11th, and that's that. Future discussions can be had around this. I've just exposed to you some of the things that we do when we look at these things, because what we try to do is balance the needs of the taxpayer, the ratepayer, of which all or most of town employees are themselves. So we get a double bang. We have to negotiate pay raises and pay our taxes to fund the pay raises that we negotiate. So the bottom line is we're all trying to do the right thing here to also enhance our benefit package, enhance our cost of living adjustments, and at the same time, make this town attractive for people to bid on jobs. And we're having severe shortfalls right now. We cannot attract people, and we cannot retain people. We're doing the best we can, but we need help. And I understand the people that will vote on this at town meeting will look at this as an issue to say, oh, maybe I can save a couple of bucks here. Well, Mr. Cirque has been told by the town manager and the chief financial officer that there's no savings to be found here. So, very premature. And as far as your question, yes. Strong collaboration back in 2003. We all stood up at town meeting and made presentations from our respective positions on doing this. And it was heralded, just like the most recent PEC agreement was heralded by the town manager as saying, never before did we do a 6-year agreement for health insurance. We've done it, we saved $10 million, and we knocked $200 million off the OPEB liability. What more could you ask
Thank you,
from your
Mr. Weber.
employees?
Mr. Trudeau?
Thank you for the presenters. In 3 years, when the PEC agreement expires, does this open up all of the benefits, retirees, health? What does that encompass?
It encompasses all active employees and retirees. Under a Section 19, retirees, it's a weighted vote system through health insurance negotiations, according to like your union size. So EAPC, representing teachers, paraeducators, and administrative assistants. We're a majority of the vote, like 50%. But the retirees, through the process of Section 19, do get a 10% vote. So yes, their benefits can be affected during health insurance negotiations. And again, I think we've done everything we can not to touch our retiree benefits. But again, so yes, it would affect actives and retirees.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just a moment. All right, Mr. Dunn, you have another question?
Yeah, I just want to note if, for Mr. Weber and Mr. Pinto, do you think this would have an impact on contract negotiations if this passes, that we are taking up next year?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, having two classes of employees doesn't usually go well, because eventually your employees who are the have-nots outweigh the haves. And in that day, you're like, hey, you sold me out back, you sold me out all those years ago. And now it's, and then, then they start to sell it. You could say, hey, you retired, you guys, you left, you're retired, but you sold me out. So now I'm an active employee. I have a way to vote. I could go after, I could sell out a retiree. Again, we try not to sell each other out. We're big on not eating our young. I think there's been examples of this throughout the town where you have, again, the haves and have-nots. It creates a divided work class. And again, eventually the haves get outweighed by the have-nots. And that's when, again, you see the attack of benefits. Again, I don't know if this is just the first attempt to erode a benefit, the first strike at it, and then maybe go for the whole thing. I really don't understand the process by this outside just being an attack on employees, because that's how it feels. And again, we've talked to a lot of employees over the past few months. This is our memberships feel pretty strongly about this. Again, no communication, no real idea about this, except, we had the sky is falling, and now we're using it as an opportunity to attack employees.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other member of the public wish to comment on this proposed article? All right. Seeing and hearing none. Let's see, Ms. Butler, would you care to move this citizens petition for special town meeting?
So moved.
All right, and Mr. Dunn, would you care to second?
Second.
All right, we have a first from Ms. Butler. We have a second from Mr. Dunn. Discussion among the committee. Ms. Reitman.
I am puzzled by the why this article was actually created. If there is a fiscal cliff and there's no benefits that would be produced in the foreseeable future, how is that even related to the fiscal cliff? So the whole article's approach is very I don't understand what the purpose is. And I do agree with Mr. Pinto that this sounds like an attack, essentially, a very unfriendly attitude towards the town employees. And I've heard myself about police chiefs saying how they're facing all these challenges attracting police officers to work for the town. And I'm sure that is true for other areas. So I really don't understand why this article was even brought in for a vote, and I will vote against it.
All right, anyone else wish to speak? Mr. Ramey.
I
and then
think
Ms. Richards.
this is very poorly thought out. It says, so the addition to it basically nullifies the entire amendment that it is added to, where it says the provisions of this act shall not apply to any employees originally hired by the town of Plymouth on or after the effective date of this act, which would presumably be town meeting if this passes. And all employees originally hired by the town prior to said date shall continue to be governed by the acts. So you're basically not guaranteeing anyone any benefits, if I'm understanding this correctly. And that just seems really, really poorly thought out to me. And then, you know, the parts of this letter where it says it's a modest and important step, that's just ridiculous. This is a sledgehammer for no reason. It doesn't save any money. So I'm definitely voting no.
Ms. Richards, and then Mr. Snyder.
Thank you. I will also be voting no. I think, number one, this act, again, does nothing. And it is an attack on the employees where if we cannot retain them, now, how are we possibly going to retain them with putting this act forward, in essence saying, you know, we're going to attack your benefits. To balance a budget on the backs of our employees is outrageous. And according to Mr. Weber, if they are offering some financial assistance to assist in balancing in our budget, alleged budget woes, then why aren't we accepting that? So
Thank
I
you, Ms.
will be voting on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Snyder?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that anytime that you're dealing with unions and employees, you want to give and take, you want to negotiate, you want to do it in good faith. This is none of those things. This is underhanded. I don't think it's proper, and I think we all should vote no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Trudell?
I've listened to both sides, but what's compelling to me is we have a 3-year agreement to continue. And I believe that management and the unions will deal with that in 3 years. So I'm disinclined to vote for this.
Thank you. Mr. Dunn?
I think we've had a discussion about the quote fiscal cliff for at least the entire time that I've been on finance committee. And we're not there yet. At this point, I think it's crying wolf, especially when we complain about that cliff and then decide to put an extra $5 million into reserve for the building maintenance stabilization fund while we're saying we can't pay for stuff right now. It all seems manufactured to me. This citizens petition seems rushed. It seems like it's not an urgent thing at all when we're talking about saving money 20 years down the road at best. And instead of having good faith conversations with the people that it would impact, the petitioners decided not to do that at all and decided to just try to throw this whole thing out there and kind of attack our town employees. I also think, as like a personal thing, I'm so sick of people from older generations getting everything that they want. They're getting all of their benefits. They get their cheap houses, they get their health care, they get everything else, and then they pull the rungs of the ladder up on the rest of us. If you look at what purchasing power was back in the day versus what it is now, everything that these generations have done have screwed the working class since the 1980s. And now they're coming to still do it again. I think it's outrageous. I think anything that's two-tiered is absolute nonsense. And I'm going to vote no, and I hope everyone else will vote no on this too.
All right. Mr. Vecchi?
For a change, I don't have a lot to say because I think everything else has been said already, and I just want to concur that I agree with all of it.
Thank you. Mr. Jacinto?
Again, back to the financial cliff that we don't have a date on, numbers on, data on. To make a quick decision like this that seems to just irritate and aggravate people seems completely unnecessary. Even if you truly think this does not affect CBA. It 100% affects recruitment and retention of employees that haven't even started here yet, that we want to attract good employees to the town. And by removing a benefit that they haven't even had a chance to get yet, doesn't help us in any way, especially where we have open positions like the police department, fire department, DPW, and we're still trying to hire. And for all of those reasons, I will also be voting no.
All right, Ms. O'Connor.
So I won't take too long. I'll be voting no and echo all of the reasons shared as well. And this might be better served as a comment at another point in the meeting, but to Mr. Jacinto's point, I think as the committee, we should at least do our part in trying to get some details and some solidity around what this quote unquote financial cliff looks like, causes, all of that, because I think what all of this rhetoric is influencing is a little bit of fear and panic and some knee-jerk responses that then create situations like this where I'll trust that this was done in good faith, but it stirs up, animosity amongst the town. So maybe that's a discussion point for another meeting between the committee. But I think we should, take some type of stance in trying to get some real information on this, financial situation we may or may not be walking into.
I think you have a great idea in having our committee get a better understanding of the parameters around what people are calling the fiscal cliff. And I happen to have a meeting scheduled with Ms. Barrett to try and set up that conversation at a hopefully before town meeting date with this committee. Just couldn't pull it off this week. And I hopefully will have a chance before town meeting to do that. Is there anyone else who wishes to make a comment? Well, I'll take the liberty of making a comment. If I were voting, I would vote no tonight as well, for a couple of reasons. But first, I want to say that in my 40 years of, actually I've been working for a long, long time, but it's not unusual for benefits to change. And I've been in a collective bargaining environment for 29, or actually longer than 29 years of that environment. But usually we put employee committees and management committees together and try to work collaboratively to do this. And I just think introducing this article, which I'll just say for me feels out of the blue, when we have some existing mechanisms that were mentioned tonight, is not the most productive way to approach this issue. But I would expect that, these things are going to change. Benefits do change because of market conditions, financial things, and everything that I think in terms of its effect on recruitment, and for that matter, retention, are all things that need to be considered. So, but this is not the way to do it with this article. So if I were voting, I'd vote no, and I encourage you all to do so as well. So if there's no further discussion among the committee members, going once, going twice, I'll call for the vote. So, Ms. Butler, how do you vote?
No.
Mr. Dunn?
No.
Mr. Jacinto?
No.
Ms. Keating?
No.
Mr. Malaguti?
No.
All right, Ms. O'Connor?
No.
Mr. Ramey?
No.
Ms. Reitman?
No.
Ms. Richards?
No.
Mr. Snyder?
No.
Ms. Tompkins?
No.
Mr. Trudell?
No.
Mr. Vecchi?
No.
All right, it's, I believe, 13 no. 0 yes, 13 no, no abstentions. The motion fails. So thank you all who came tonight to speak on behalf of that. Thank you, Mr. Peck, for standing in for Mr. Cirque.
I just thank you, and of course, every third word was bargain, whether it's this, I think, as you said, the world is changing over time, whether it's, this year's cliff or next year's cliff or never a cliff, everything needs to be bargained, and maybe the ideal time is 3 years from now when there's a massive kind of reconsideration of what we have. So it's important to be collaborative and work together and
Right,
bargain together.
I
Because
think the problem is still a concern, but I think there's a better process than this article. That's the message we're sending tonight.
Okay. So thank
Okay.
you for hearing me.
Well, thank you for coming, sir. And we try not to shoot messengers. All right. We have some minutes to approve this evening for March 4th. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? And there were some amendments, I believe, made, but the current one is available to you. So anyone have any questions about the minutes? All right. Mr. Jacinto, would you care to approve the minutes of March 4th?
So moved.
All right, and Ms. Keating, would you care to second that notion?
Seconded.
All right, so we have a first from Mr. Jacinto, a second from Ms. Keating. All right, I'll call the vote. Ms. Butler?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto?
Abstain.
All right, Mr. Jacinto abstains. Ms. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Malaguti?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
Ms. Reitman?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins?
Yes.
Mr. Trudell?
Abstain.
And Mr. Trudell abstains. Mr. Vecchi?
Yes.
All right, 11 yes, 0 no's, 2 abstentions. And that motion carries. All right, the next item is the town meeting consent agenda. So I'm going to take a moment and just explain what that is. A consent agenda is a way in a board meeting to save some time on articles that typically were voted unanimously by this committee and are expected to have no strong debate or opposition at the larger budget. So I presume that everyone's gone down and seen what the commissions are. And what it does essentially is it'll save, I think there are 11 articles that we have on the consent agenda items. It will save 10 votes at town meeting. And each vote typically takes 5 to 10 minutes to work its way through, even on the easy stuff. And there is the opportunity to divide or to not, they'll get a chance to opine on whether they want to do consent agenda or vote them individually. So actually, it maybe only saves 9 votes, but 9 votes, saving 9 votes is saving 9 votes. And at best, it saves 45, I mean, it's a minimum of 45 minutes saved typically. So I would urge you to consider voting for the consent agenda item. Does anyone have any questions about anything on the consent agenda? Yes, Mr. Trudeau.
If there is objections from the floor, what happens?
Then typically there will be a motion to divide, or they'll just go through them individually. So there is the opportunity to do that. It may take a majority vote to do that, but there is the opportunity to divide. Okay? Any other questions? All right, then seeing and hearing none, and is there any public comment on the consent agenda item? Anybody wishes to speak? Oh, yes, Mr. Weber.
Thank you again. Just to say thank you, that's all. And not on the consent agenda.
Oh, okay, well, we're just doing this for the consent agenda item.
Do you have
But you're
enough-
welcome, okay? Yes, we do. Okay, yeah, let's keep focused on the article right now. So this is on the article. All right, I see no other public comment coming from the room, so I think I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. Down to Mr. Malaguti. Would you care to move the motion to approve the consent agenda item for town meeting?
So moved.
All right, and Ms. O'Connor, would you happen to be willing to second that?
Of course, seconded.
All right, so we have a first from Mr. Malaguti, a second from Ms. O'Connor. I'll call for the vote. Ms. Butler, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Friedman? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Malaguti?
Yes.
All right, Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
Ms. Reitman?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins?
Yes.
Mr. Trudell?
Yes.
Mr. Vecchi?
Yes.
All right, I believe the motion carries 13 yes, 0 no's, 0 abstentions. All right, is there anyone who wishes to review or reconsider any of the spring annual or special town meeting articles? We've already discussed the only special one, so. If not, someone asked about caucus meetings. So I'm busy herding cats and trying to get all of the dates down. I think I have 3 more to go, 3 more precincts to get scheduled. However, the town books are being mailed, spring town meeting books are being mailed on Friday, March 20th. And we usually like a couple of business days for people to get them and stay up late at night pouring through them. So the first caucus available slot I've made is on Wednesday, March 25th. And the caucuses are scheduled through Thursday, April 7th, I think the date is. And we're only having caucus nights on Monday through Thursday. So as soon as I get the caucus schedule confirmed, and I'm really trying to do that by Friday, but then I was trying to do it by last Friday, and then a storm got in the way. I will share that schedule with you, and not long after that, I have the form constructed, online form. Again, I will ask you to fill in, much like we did for last fall. With one exception, I added a text box at the end where you can say, I want to go to caucus precinct 7 is my first choice, but I still want you to put in your dates of availability, and my colleagues, that being the first chair and second chair, will do our best to accommodate those requests. Most of the meetings are in person. There are 2 caucuses at least that are hybrid via Zoom. So when I do get that out, I really appreciate it if you give it some quick attention and run through it. And then we can turn that around pretty quickly, because the outcome of that is an Excel spreadsheet that allows us to just try to accommodate everybody as quickly as possible. And we'll share what the assignments are too, like we did last fall. Any questions about that? Okay. And if you have any ideas about that, I'm always open for that. All right, is there any committee discussion on any other topic that you want to bring up to me? All right. With that, we're now at our last opportunity for public comment. I believe Mr. Weber would like to say something.
Correct, and thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the Finance Committee. Thank you for your diligence, thank you for what you do, and thank you for listening tonight. I just wanted to say to you that it's very difficult when you're talking about an issue that has such history as what we just talked about here tonight. And it's very easy to glaze over people when we talk health insurance. It's not a very excitable subject, it's not. But it's very easily done to lose people's attention span. So as much as I'm concerned that 5 minutes is never enough, I do appreciate that you were able tonight to grasp what we were putting forward in the 5 minutes. But it's just and I just want to extend the invitation. My phone number is 508-980-9027 for anyone that wants to set up a meeting with me or Mr. Kelly at the retirement board, and we can meet and give you all the details that you may or may not want. But there is a lot to discuss when it comes to the history of benefits offered to the town of Plymouth. And just for a closing statement, you need to know that Plymouth is now below the average of health insurance. We're at a contribution rate that is below what was stated tonight by Mr. Peck. And I'll keep that proprietary just because we're in the middle of heated discussions because of no discussions. So bottom line is Plymouth needs to do a lot of work to be able to retain and recruit employees, and it's getting harder every day. It really is. And Plymouth is such a great community. I was born here. I love this community, but it's very difficult, and it's become just like the facility on Beaver Dam Road. It's become difficult to manage. So That's my statement. Thank you for your time.
All right. Mr. DiNardo, a little birdie told me you might like to make a comment.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Al Donato, Precinct 17. I'm just making a general statement about the fiscal cliff. I'm not suggesting any cuts or changes, but if people had watched, and I know people's eyes glaze over with these numbers, but if we just watch the budget meeting in December and we look at it very quickly, again, pension and medical is $70 million. The finance director said that's going to grow at 10%. So that's $7 million pension and medical we need next year, new money. The labor is about 150 million. If that grows at 2%, so you're talking $10 million just in those items you need next year. Our new money this year, aside from the state, was only $11.5 million. So, I mean, and of course the other issues we have to deal with. So that kind of gives folks an idea of what we're dealing with here, just on the basic expenses. So we are going to have a problem. We have heard, and since then, we've heard that Ozempic drug cost, that was $3 million. I just heard, maybe I was wrong, that it's now $3.8 million. This storm, this recent storm was $2 million. The combined snow and ice overspent is $3 million. Now that will get carried over to next year because it's just how we account for things. But that's another $3 million. So on and on here, and I would imagine that by June that Ozempic drug will increase because that's the end of the fiscal year. In closing, I want to say we've heard from the finance director of the finance department, and with due respect to them, I think this town has grown a lot the last 20 or 30 years as maybe the director has been here, and you know, a tugboat will give a different wake than an aircraft carrier. We are trying to manage an aircraft carrier now, and I think we need to have someone come into this town and understand what sort of wake this aircraft carrier of $340 million is making. The Department of Revenue will do this for us. The select board can reach out to them. I've been here before in my previous town. We were under a DOR watch list, and I hope that never happens to this town. But the Division of Local Services has the Bureau of Accounts. They will come in and do an analysis of our town. That's what we need to do. And it's not speaking ill of the management or political leadership. I'm the type of person is I want us to get to the bottom of this so we can deal with it for the employees, for the public, and for the taxpayer. Let's see what we are facing. Then we can begin to deal with it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. DiNardo. Is there any other member of the public that wishes to speak? All right. Well, seeing and hearing none, I think it's, first of all, last week we mentioned there might be a meeting next week, and that meeting is not going to happen. There may be a meeting the week after, but stay tuned. We'll let you know. And also, as a reminder, well, a couple things. One, if when we do make assignments and it's on a night that we're meeting, we would expect you to go to your caucus meeting if you're assigned that night rather than here, because the caucuses are important. And secondly, for now, keep on your calendar the fact that on the morning of Springtown meeting on April 11th, we have a meeting scheduled at 7 o'clock in the Arts Room at Plymouth North High School, and we'll need at least a quorum for that. But we probably won't know whether we need to, that meeting will be canceled until maybe midnight the night before or something like that. But I won't call you then, and neither will Jeanette. So, all right, failing in any other questions, comments? If not, oh, let's see.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Dunn, you're a little too eager, but Mr. Dunn has made a motion to adjourn, and let's see. Mr. Vecchi, would you care to second that?
I would.
All right, we have first from Mr. Dunn, a second from Mr. Vecchi. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Malaguti?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
Ms. Reitman?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder,
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins.
Yes.
Mr. Trudell,
Yes.
Mr. Vecchi, the motion is unanimous. We are adjourned at 9 minutes after 8. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.